In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. We will continue with the revision of the verses that we had already discussed from chapter 2 of the Quran. We had reached in a detailed explanation to verse number 74, but we had gone back to read from Tafsir al-Mawardi, and yesterday we completed verse number 63. Today we'll keep going. The following verse reads as follows: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وإذ أخذنا ميثاقكم ورفعنا فوقكم الطور خذوا ما أتيناكم بقوة واذكروا ما فيه لعلكم تتقون ثم توليتم من بعد ذلك فلولا فضل الله عليكم ورحمته ولكنتم من الخاسرين. The brief meaning in English would be, and remember when we took your covenant and we raised the mountain above you, ordering you to take and accept, or take what we have given you with force, and to remember what's within it, so that you might be or become God-fearing. But then you rejected and if it were not for the blessing and favor of Allah and His mercy, you would have been amongst the losers. So at-tur, the word at-tur, this word comes frequently in the Quran, and there's a whole chapter in the Quran called the chapter of at-tur, right? At-tur, he says here that it could have three meanings. One of them is, this is the specific mountain upon which Moses was standing when Allah spoke to him and the Torah was given to him. And the other meaning is that at-tur means any mountain that has trees on it. And the third meaning of at-tur is any mountain, whether it has trees or not. خُذُوا مَا أَتَيْنَاكُمْ بِقُوَّةٍ, take what we have given you with force, meaning to be diligent, to strive hard in what we have given you, and to take it not only with knowledge, but with knowledge and application. Quwwah, this is the meaning of quwwah here, with force. And then the following verse, I'm just reading what he explains. He only explains specific words. The following verse is verse number 65. وَلَقَدْ عَلِمْتُمُ الَّذِينَ اعْتَدَوْا مِنْكُمْ فِي السَّبْتِ فَقُلْنَا لَهُمْ كُونُوا قِرَدَةً خَاسِئِينَ. And you know those who transgressed on the Sabt, the Saturday or the Sabbath, and we said to them, be you humiliated apes, قِرَدَةً خَاسِئِينَ. And we have made it deterrent for those who have seen it and those who come after, and an admonition for those who fear God. This incident, Allah caused it to happen as a threat and a warning to nations that lived at the time and nations to come after. The word, he says, اعتدوا منكم في السبت, they transgressed on the Saturday or the Sabbath, which is the day that was dedicated for worship. He says here, either they basically placed nets on Friday or before the Saturday started, so that it withholds the fish, and then they collected the fish on the Sunday. Or they actually fished directly on the Saturday. He says here the Sabbath is, or the Sabt is well known. This is the day that comes after Friday. Or it also comes from the root of to interrupt or to cut. And it also refers to, in Arabic, it has the meaning or the connotation of calm and quiet and peace and rest. That is why Allah says in the Quran, وَجَعَلْنَا نَوْمَكُمْ subata. Subata comes from the same meaning, a rest, an interruption of your busy schedule, and also a time to rest and be calm. فَقُلْنَا لَهُمْ كُونُوا قِرَدَةً خَاسِئِينَ. We said to them, become or be humiliated apes. Now, scholars have said about this incident that either that they were transformed physically into apes. That's one opinion. The other opinion is that they behaved Or Allah said, is this, if you want to live like, like apes or animals that never understand Allah's commandments and have no desire for the higher values, then you can live the way that you want. And this kind of quality or behavior became even more entrenched in their hearts. You follow? This is just like Allah says in the Quran, كَمَثَلِ الْحِمَارِ يحمل أسفارا مثل الذين حملوا التوراة ثم لم يحملوها كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا. Those who have been given the Torah and they refuse to basically act by it or follow its commandments, these Allah likened them to a donkey that is carrying on his back books. The books have not, no matter how many books you put on the back of the donkey will not become any smarter or cleverer, and the donkey will not change his behavior, right? So this is the meaning, and actually this is the interpretation of Imam Mujahid, while the first interpretation of the physical transformation is the saying of Ibn Abbas. But he says, Ibn Abbas says, any human being who is transformed into another creature by the will of Allah as a punishment does not continue to live beyond 3 days and does not have any descendants. That's important to know. Even if this happened physically, then there will be no long-lasting effects in following generations from that. You follow? Okay. And the stronger...
After the third day, they will all die.
That's exactly what he said here, yes. He says basically they will not be able to eat or drink. They will not be like sound, healthy animals. But the stronger opinion is the second opinion of Mujahid, that this was not a physical transformation, but like the internal qualities and the spiritual qualities are like those. Just like Allah says also in the Quran, فَمَثَلُهُ كَمَثَلِ الْكَلْبِ إِن تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْهِ يَلْهَثْ. Also another likening someone who chooses the worldly desires over the verses of Allah after knowing well the verses of Allah and having understood it and followed it, and then leaving all this to follow worldly desires. Allah says, كَمَثَلِ الْكَلْبِ إِن تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْهِ يَلْهَث. He likened that person to the dog, right? كُونُوا قِرَدَةً خَاسِئِينَ. خاسئين, the word خاسئين is mentioned in the Quran in other verses like اخسأوا فيها ولا تكلمون. الخاسئ المبعد. خاسئين means distant, cast away, or خاسئين means humiliated. أذلاء صاغرون. It could have this meaning or could have that meaning. Finally, the verse ends. This is where we will stop today. فجعلناها نكالا لما بين يديها وما خلفها. The word نكالا means a deterrent. An example or a deterrent. لما بين يديها وما خلفها. يديها وما خلفها means for what is in front of it and what is behind it. ما بين يديها, these are the yadayn, the hands. What's in front, ما خلفها, what's behind. So this expression ما بين يديه وما خلفه comes frequently in the Quran. لا يأتيه الباطل من بين يديه ولا من خلفه. You'll find that repeated in the Quran. So basically, what's between the hands, what ما بين يديها, is what is present or what is apparent, because this is what you're seeing. ما خلفها is what is still to come or what is distant, which you do not see. You follow? So this is how you should understand it. So ما بين يديها means, وما خلفها means, ما بين يديها would be the nations that are living close, who lived at that time, who would witness that event. ما خلفها are the nations to come that will hear about this event and will take heed from it as well. You follow? Now, ما بين يديها وما خلفها could also means he's referring to the sins or the transgressions. ما بين يديها وما خلفها means the sins that they are ما بين يديها. Here he says ما بين يديها ما مضى من خطاياهم. He says the sins that have already been committed in the past, which are very clear in front of them. وما خلفها means the sin that they committed at that time, which is the transgression in the Sabbath, which led to this destruction. We'll stop here.
This word, big and apes and khanzir. So there was a two, we would say,
قردة وخنازير وعبد الطاغوت. نعم. In Surah Al-Ma'idah. Exactly. And as mentioned, this could mean in the spiritual qualities, in the personal qualities. A human being can resemble, for instance, khanzir has the quality of lacking any kind of, what?
no morals.
No morality. ما فيش غيرة. What do you call غيرة? Haya, yeah, shamelessness and so on. So these things are mentioned in the Quran to indicate that a human being can acquire certain qualities of certain animals. Lowly desires كمثل الكلب. Lack of understanding كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا. Shamelessness and basically he says the khinzir, for instance, qirada, also lack of understanding and foolishness.